Alright guys, today is the day. Ridetech hooked me up. I've got a full front suspension for this thing. I am excited to get this thing installed, and we are going to be doing a little bit better handling. Like the video up here, check that out, the body roll. I got a big huge sway bar for this thing from Ridetech, the StrongArm kit, all the coilovers, everything. Today's the day to put it in. I've got brakes I'm going to do also, some Willwoods for the front. We'll do that while we're doing the Ridetech. I've already got CCP drop spindles under this. We're excited. We are going to get this tore down, figure out why I've been making some noises in the front end when I'm doing some donuts. So we'll look at that too, because I want to make sure we're good. And the other thing I'm going to build is some front end brace support. Stiffen up the front end a little bit to the frame, to the center support. So stay tuned, and we will be having some fun. Let me show you what I have. I opened everything up out of the boxes. So I've got the StrongArms here, the uppers and the lowers. They are great quality. They are built awesome. Powder coating looks great. I've got the Ridetech coilovers, and then these coils. I can't remember the poundage, but they're designed for big block. And he told me over the phone, but I can't quite remember. And I've got all the hardware here: bump stops, bolts, and of course the upper coilover mounts. Which this will be fun. We're going to cut a hole out. It's going to be great, and all the instructions. So stay tuned. More to come. And stay tuned for the next video, because I got all the rear suspension. Alright guys, well, before I start, I'm going to suck out as much brake fluid as I can out of the master cylinder here, just because I'm going to open the brake lines up. I don't want it leaking it all over the place. And then remember to always disconnect your battery. I'm going to disconnect the brake line on the caliper here, kind of drain some of the fluid, and then we're going to undo the ball joints, take the shocks off, and this side, the car's already been dropped. It's got lowering springs, and they're loose. You really should use a spring compressor before you do this. I need to warn you, use a spring compressor if you're going to start disconnecting this. I am not, due to my lowered springs. So they're definitely loose in here, but I want you guys to be aware, use a spring compressor. I'm going to put that in big letters because I don't want anyone to get hurt. You can really get hurt with this, so be careful. So, now this is where you want to keep these shims, and keep the exact same shims you've taken out. Alright guys, so I got to take out these 4 bolts from the back side of the frame. Super hard to get to. I mean, it's tight up there. There's lines and everything in the way, if you can kind of see. Maybe not, but... Guys, well, we got those bolts out. It was tight up in there. I had to loosen up all these brake lines in order to access it, and then a flex handle ratchet along with an impact to try to break them loose. But those bolts are out. Now I'm gonna get these rivets out, get this thing lowered down, and I'll show you how I cut those rivets. All right, so I'm gonna take my die grinder. I'm gonna put an X on the top. Alright, so I got the X's in there, and I'm going to take an air hammer we got that out. Let's fit up the bracket and see what it looks like on here, but it's looking pretty good. I still got to cut a hole here. I'll show you how I do that. So the nice thing about these brackets, it's P for passenger side. And all the holes line up perfect. All right, so I'm gonna cut these out. All right, so I'm just gonna lay that up there where it says front. We're gonna just align the holes. You can kind of see light through them. Holes don't line up exactly. Just like that. Can't quite see it that well, but that's our pencil template. So I need to cut this out, and I think I might just take a plasma cutter and we'll cut it out. This is the sway bar kit for the StrongArms, or you can just use it on your normal C10 truck. But this is everything that it comes with. I'm going to come over here and drill out the rivet brackets for the stock sway bar mounts. I'm going to go do that. That way these are ready to go. And I just wanted to show you what was involved with the sway bar kit. And we'll go drill these out. Alright, so I got the bump stop all drilled in and mounted in here, so ready to go with that. Next, I'm going to put the upper control arm on. Now, with the upper control arm, there's an arrow pointing forward. You can kind of see it's misshaped here. You can flip this around and change the geometry on this, but for now I'm going to start with this as a starting point, and then you put in these shims here. Well, they're not shims, they're just little pieces that slide into these holes. These are number 2s, and you can buy different ones to change the camber and caster a little bit. So, and you can flip these around, it'll change that too, but I'm leaving the 2 upright so you can see it. So then that's gonna go just like so. So now this is the fun part. So at this point, if you remembered to keep your stack of shims and which was on the front and which was on the rear, you can go ahead and set them in. Now you're still got to get this aligned, but this is a good starting point. And at least it'll make it so you can drive it over there. Alright, then what I'm going to do is tighten all these up here. I've still got to tighten up this lower control arm too. But I've got that in position. I'll tighten this up, and you do want to read the instructions. This is like 8 3/4. There's 2 sets of holes on this control arm, and you want to make sure it lines up with the 8 3/4 on a C10. So you want to make sure for this kit it requires that. I think they make this arm so it's universal. And there's a little hole right here, a little bump here in the frame, and that's in the instructions, so just pay attention to that. So you can kind of see right here, That little nub that sticks down, that lines up with the hole that's in the top of that. So you can kind of see there. There you go, there's the hole. And that lines up with that. So that's what keeps this from moving and keeps it in position. Hey, I'm super excited about this. It turned out great. I've got the suspension tidied up and ready to go. I'm gonna get this thing set on the ground and see what it looks like, and stay tuned for a future video on how it handles, and hit subscribe.